On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we've got a long interview with Landry Jones. Talk about his career at OU, talk about his career with the Steelers, the XFL. It's a great discussion that you guys are going to enjoy. And that's it. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. And you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in June from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play in Riverwind's $80,000 summer vacation promotion. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Now, we are recording this way in advance, Ted. So we're doing some time traveling here. By now, I have been a dad for a few days. So I know it hasn't happened yet, but just think in the future, how do you think it's going for me so far? First couple days of fatherhood.
The first 48 hours of fatherhood, you've had 4 hours sleep, depending. Hopefully, things are going okay. 4 hours sleep is probably about right. You're going to be scared that everything you do is like going to injure severely the child, and you're almost at the depths of hell at this point, and it's going to start getting better. You're going to be at the point where you're saying, oh my God, there is no way that it can always be like this. It's impossible. And then it's just going to get, that 1% better thing, just 1% better. It's going to
get 1% better every day, right?
Yeah. You're going to be at the depths, and that's where it's going to start getting 1% better every day.
Okay. So I'm going to hit rock bottom, and it's all up from there.
Yeah. 48 hours or so, 3 days in, that's where you hit rock bottom.
Well, all right. Check in with me.
Because I hate to tell you this, and I don't know if anyone sold you on this, but that first night that you're going early, you won't get any sleep then either. So you're going to be starting the whole situation with a big deficit of sleep.
This is going to be great. Can't wait. If you have some encouraging words like Teddy about fatherhood, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and leave us a nice comment about fatherhood while you're at it. Why not?
I'm just telling you that
you're just being real. That's real. Fine. You're going to tell me I'm essentially going to be a zombie, it sounds like, and I'm going to be scared to do anything because I think I might kill the child. Am I understanding that correctly?
You're going to call your parents and friends that have a newborn a couple of times an hour for the first couple of days. Like, what? Like, how do you do this? Like, he's doing this. What am I supposed to do? It's going to be brutal. And if what I'm telling you doesn't happen, that's just a bonus, man. You were set up for something really bad, and it wasn't all that bad.
All right.
So,
this whole episode is an interview with the one and only Landry Jones. Here he is, Landry Bones Jones. It is our pleasure to be joined by the all-time leading passer in Oklahoma football history and in Big 12 football history. He is quite possibly one of the most underappreciated football players in the history of college football. Landry Jones is in the house. What's up, man?
Man, nothing. Thanks for having me. That shirt is fiery.
Thank
What
you.
is that?
Beautiful.
It is an Oklahoma Breakdown shirt.
Dude,
You
shout
can
out to
get these from my
Oklahoma
Costa. They're
Breakdown.
pretty sweet.
I
Where'd
have
you get?
like the 10 or 12-year-old version of that same T-shirt.
It's a
Well,
good
mine
T-shirt. I
looks
can
a
get
little
you
more
one. We've got
authentic.
some extra ones downstairs. I'll get you one.
Yeah, I need one badly.
What size? What size are we? Are
big
we still in the
question here.
XL range? Or
Oh, we're double X these days.
oh
Yes.
boy,
Yeah.
say it ain't
The real
so,
man weighs-
Bones.
Dude, I might weigh more than you right now, Gabe.
Okay, I stepped on a scale this morning before I worked out. I was 246 and a half pounds.
Ooh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I'm heavier than I look, is the way that I put it.
You are. You
Okay.
are.
What? Just take a wild guess. I stepped on the scale at a restaurant the other night.
Are you 6'5"?
6'4".
6'4",
Me
okay.
and Landry are about the same height, and you were about 225 when we played together.
That's generous. I'll take it.
So yes, before the vomiting, before weighing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say you're 238.
Oh, I
He's-
wish I was 238.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's thrown me
I went
for
Price
a
is
loop
Right
here.
strategy.
Oh, dude.
245. Got to be 245.
255.
Yeah, let's go.
Into the linebacker's weight, son.
That- You're trying
the
to hit
weight
that
room.
driver, get a little extra yardage on there, aren't you?
There's no question. There's some frustration right now.
You spent too much time with Roethlisberger, clearly.
Question about that.
So
We didn't spend enough time watching film. We spent most of our time eating.
we'll get to that. I did want to start with the OU stuff, obviously,
Hey,
because
do it.
you had such a tremendous career. I was there for a lot of it, all of it, except for your redshirt year. But I always wondered, I never asked you, how does a guy from New Mexico end up at OU? Like how did that all go? How was your recruitment? Like, how do you go from Artesia, New Mexico to like, yeah, Norman, Oklahoma's the spot for me?
Dude, so from a tiny town, like 10,000 people, tiny town, and just did the whole quarterback camp circuit. Went to like Tennessee, went to Oklahoma, SC, Oregon, all the stuff, just bounce around from camp to camp to camp. And then, I had offers from most of the Big 12 and the Pac, I guess it was Pac-10 back then, but Pac-12, whatever it's called now. And then Oklahoma called, and I was like, well, that's the best school that offered me so far, so that's the one I'm going to take. And then, old Bob came down, knocked on the door, said, hey, what's up? Do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Let's do this thing. And that was basically it.
Hype was the quarterback coach at
Yeah.
that point, right? So he was just the quarterback coach. What was that relationship like?
It was great whenever he was a quarterback coach. He, Hype is just like a stickler, man. He would never let off the freaking gas. So whenever he was a quarterback coach, man, we were humming, and me and him were grooving. And then Coach Wilson, God bless him, he was the OC.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Gabe's starting to have like PTSD,
Starting to sweat.
Yeah, for sure. About to pass out over there.
No, yeah. Kevin was a unique dude, but I will say this about him. Of any coach, he may have got the most out of his players.
He was the best coach I had at Oklahoma, even though he would call me ridiculous stuff.
It's so bad, dude.
Almost bring me to tears. But man, he was a freaking good football coach.
Brutal. It's so funny. Whenever you think back to like the coaching staff that I played for in the early 2000s, most of those coaches have been disciplined in some form or fashion for treatment of players. Almost all of them. Wilson, Mangino, Ship. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Oh man, you just didn't know. You didn't know it was abuse. You just got used to it.
That's right. It's funny.
It
That's
was it was certainly an experience. Okay, so you get there 08, right? And
Yep.
I'm just curious because that was probably an interesting year for you. You redshirt, but it's the year Sam wins the Heisman. It's the year they go play in the national championship game. Like what was it like being part of that team for you?
That was like maybe one of the most defining years of my life, coming from being a big fish in a small pond to freaking coming to OU. And then you're really I don't know, I think I was like fourth string quarterback and just losing all your confidence, losing your identity. And, that first year I went through it and I was just like, screw this. I ain't doing that no more. I don't want to come back to school. And I was like at that point, and then thank God I freaking stuck it out and ended up having a really good career and stuff like that. But man, that was we had so much. It was cool it was almost like a gift and a curse, because it's like your first year to do it, go to college, but you're so successful that you're like, oh, this is what it's like. This just happens. It just happens that we play, we beat teams, and then we go to the national championship, and then it never happened for us after that. But that it was an awesome experience, but it set the bar so high that everything else that I ever accomplished in my career seemed like a failure.
Yeah. So the timing is really fascinating because when you were getting recruited and whenever you signed, OU hadn't started this new like up tempo, this new style of offense. 08 was the year that it kind of burst onto the scene. Now,
Right.
did you know that in your recruitment leading up, like, hey, we're going to be doing some different things? And is that part of why you went, or was that kind of a new thing that they threw out there
And
right before the season?
Yeah, it was like a new thing that was not right before the season. I think they were working on it a little bit and did a little in 07. I'm not real for sure on the history of it, but Coach Wilson, he was just like, this is what we're going to do. This is what I believe in. And, everybody has their own little touch, own little flair as far as up tempo and things like that. And so he put his own spin on it, whatever you want to call it, and turned it into his offense. And man, that was great. It was an awesome offense to play in.
Yeah, there was certainly a big emphasis on tempo.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about BYU or do you want to talk about Texas that first year? Because both times, right, Sam gets hurt.
Either one were equally as painful.
Yeah, let's go in chronological order.
Yeah,
let's go with
one
BYU.
You want to start with. They both were terrible experiences.
Yeah, so Sam wins the Heisman, decides to come back, right? And first game, we're playing maybe the first game in Jerry World against BYU.
It was the very first game.
Yeah. Yeah, and he goes down early, and you are thrust into action.
My eyes were like basketballs, dude. I was just, I was spinning. I couldn't believe that I was actually playing, and I had no clue what I was doing. Just out there, freaking winging it, flying by the seat of my pants. Yeah, and again, we end up losing that game, but it is what it is.
I just remember after the game, it's one of my I don't have many memories from football, especially on the field. That's probably alarming, honestly.
Yeah, might want to go get that checked.
But I remember so vividly you crying in the locker room after the game and apologizing to everyone. And
what a wuss, right?
No, the whole time. And it's like the only thing I said to you, I was like, dude, you don't have anything to apologize for. And you gave me the most sincere look of like, dude, I needed to hear that.
There was so much shame. Oh, I felt like I had the world on my shoulders and I let everybody down. That sucked.
I think if you've played football long enough, you've had a moment where it all of a sudden hits you like, oh my God, I am not prepared for this. Like whether it's someone going down in front of you, whether it's like something that you just haven't seen or whatever it is, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. So I know whenever you saw Sam laying there, it had to hit you like immediately. Oh my God, I'm not prepared for this. what was the first thing that Hype said to you, or anyone said to you when they walked over and said, "Okay, you ready to go"? Was there any calming at all, or is it like
No,
just
no one was coddling me. No one was doing nothing. He was just like, grab your helmet, get in. And I was like, whoa, where's my helmet? And so I was running around on the sideline. I was like, dude, where did I freaking put this thing? And I finally found it. I ran. I don't even remember what plays we called. I don't remember anything from that game. I just remember being just in over my head.
So we lose that one, but you really, I mean, you strung together some good games. And then we go into Texas that year in 09. It's a big game like it always is. But what was it? Sam came back from, maybe it was like Baylor right before that.
Yeah, he played. I think he might have played Baylor or something and played okay. And I don't know. I don't even remember if we won or not. But yeah, he came back. I think it was Baylor. I think you're right.
So what was that just like emotionally for you that year where it's like, okay, I didn't expect to be on the field. All of a sudden, I'm on the field against some grown ass men from BYU. And then it's like, did you almost feel like, okay, I can relax a little bit. I can just learn. I can kind of settle in. And then the Texas thing happens where he goes down again and you're thrown out there again in the other biggest game of the year.
It was kind of always like that, like yo-yo back and forth. You know, I knew he was going to be out like a game or two after BYU. And then he started throwing and he would look good in practice. And then they'd be like, hey, in our meeting room, Sam, he might play. And so I was like, okay, how do I handle that? So it was always like them kind of dangling that carrot in front of me where it's like, you might play, you might not, just be prepared. And then it got way better. I hate to say that, but whenever he went down against Texas, then I knew. I was like, okay, he's done. This is mine, and I can finally just
no one's
prepare
going to
and
bail
go.
you out? Like there's no
Yeah,
like I just got to get to this end point.
right.
It's you've got it. You got the
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
So I, I don't know that anyone, I don't know we've ever seen that before or since, where the reigning Heisman Trophy winner goes down like first quarter of the season. So you were thrown into really an impossible situation. It's hard to come in after a Heisman Trophy winner no matter what, right? But under those circumstances, makes it even more difficult. So when you look back at it, what do you think you learned? What did you carry from that as you move forward? Either something that helped you or maybe something that hurt you. Like that, I could understand someone coming out of that season with a confidence issue and having a real hard time getting that back. Maybe. So, how did that affect you in the future?
You know, the confidence thing is interesting. I thought that I was thinking about the other day and I didn't really struggle with that. And I was like, why didn't I struggle with it? But it was like, it just happened so fast and unexpectedly
Mm-hmm.
that I had no time to react or think or anything like that. So the confidence one wasn't the big deal. It was learning how to play, learning how to prepare. And, you know, something that stuck with me from that whenever I went to the NFL and was a backup, it was just like, hey, I've been in that spot before when you never know. You never know when a guy is going to take a hit. So I'm not ever going to let myself not prepare like I'm the starter, get all the mental reps in practice and prepare like I'm going to play. So it was like after practice, I was watching tape and in the meeting rooms for hours and letting myself get ready to go because I just never knew if, you know, Ben was ever going to go down and not play. And, you know, it never really happened like that where I had to go in, but I was always ready.
Right. I don't know why I'm so curious and staying on the negative train, but if you could,
You're riding that thing.
I'll just ride the negativity train. If you could erase one of these games, which one would you do? 09 Nebraska in Lincoln, or
Okay.
2011 Texas Tech in Norman?
2011 Texas Tech for sure.
Thank you. Good choice.
09, we were out of it already. Our season was trashed. But 2011, we could have ran the table.
I'm trying to think. Is that '09 game? Is that whenever Sue was just beating someone? What
It was
was
Jarvis
Yeah.
Jones.
that?
He ended up, it
bad.
was so bad he ended up on the Heisman reel. Remember that?
Yeah, dude, bad. Like him in my lap all game long. Didn't help that I threw 5 picks in that game, and we freaking lost by 7. It was like 10-3. Our defense was so good.
I was redshirting that year. I was watching that game on TV, and the entire time I was just like, this is one of the worst football games I've ever watched.
Dude, horrible, horrible game. I couldn't believe we're still in it, and we're still throwing the ball. That Wilson was still dialing up passes left and right. I kept throwing it to the other team.
So what was that like? What was that transition like to go from Wilson as the offensive coordinator and Heupel as quarterback coach to Heupel now as the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator? Probably had a much better feeling of your strengths and weaknesses and how to call plays in your favor, set the offense up in your favor.
Yeah, it was good. With anything, like anything anyone does for the first time, there was a learning curve, and I felt like me and Hype had to kind of figure out each other's learning curve and figure out what each other liked. We spent a bunch of time together in that quarterback room. Is him just the quarterback coach, but he wasn't in charge of calling plays. He wasn't in charge of doing any of that stuff. All he was focusing on was making us better quarterbacks, and that was it. And so I think me and him both had this learning curve with each other. There were times of frustration and times where we felt like we were gelling together, because that relationship between quarterback and offensive coordinator is like hand in glove type of deal. And it takes time to develop that. And as I felt like my senior year, we were starting to kind of gel a little bit and start to figure each other out, and so it kind of feels like one of those deals where we just kind of ran out of time.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. And don't forget to send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. They know that children need to be in school and are doing everything possible to make that happen. Bishop McGinnis students were welcomed back last August and saw very few interruptions in 2020. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. Okay, back to the interview. Okay, I remember wanting to ask you this at the time as kind of 2012 unfolded. Do you ever regret coming back? Because in 2011, and I know the mock drafts aren't everything, right? But you were projected, first round at the worst, second round. People were talking about maybe being the third quarterback off the board. Do you ever, now that you've had time, that your career's over, you've had time to reflect, do you ever look back on it and go, man, I should have left?
I think about that all the time. Professionally, I should have left 2010. That's when I should have left. But I just wasn't ready, emotionally. And then I even just think about my relationships. Like, I got married my senior year. I don't know if me and Whitney would have made it. So, hindsight, professionally, yes, but I feel like I made the right call for myself staying 2012. But looking back at it, if I had to give anybody advice, if they're single, they don't have anything going on with their family, it's like, man, if you have a good year, then I would have left. I should have left 2010. And if I could have, hindsight's always 2020, but if I could have looked into the future, that's the year I would have left.
Did you have that conversation with anyone? Like, did you and Hype have that conversation?
No, we had that conversation in 2011.
Was he trying to convince you to come back? Was he like, what was his take on it? It's tough as a coach, man. You want the best for your players, and how that reflects on you and how it reflects on the university, and you develop a tight relationship, but at the same time, you're trying to go out there and win championships.
Yeah, Hype and Coach Stoops were always on the train of me coming back. More so Hype than anybody else. He was always the one that was pushing for me to come back. I don't really remember those conversations all that well. But it always landed in the same place of him wanting me to come back and me staying that extra year.
So you do come back. I mean, we have a decent year in 2012, but at the end of that season, what was going through your head, right? As you're heading into the draft process, we won some good games that year. We had the Notre Dame loss, which everyone shit on us for.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still a solid season. We get drilled in the bowl game, right? But at the end of that year, I mean, what was going through your head?
Man, I was done. Once we that bowl game, I was just I was done. I was mentally checked out. I was just fried and ready to get out of there at that point, and so yeah, that bowl game was I was really just looking forward to having fun. It was just that's where I was in that mental space, right or wrong. I was just toast, man. I was ready to get out of there.
So we've meandered our way through the bad times. There's got to be.
We've made it sound really bad, but 09 through 12, we won a lot of games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Won games, setting records along the way. There's tons of fantastic stuff in there. What are some of your best memories? What are some of your favorite moments, favorite plays? Just what sticks out about your time there that was really good?
Man, I love playing Florida State. That was one of the coolest,
so sick.
Yeah, out of conference games that we played. I love going to Florida State. That stadium was unbelievable. That was a really cool game. It was cool that we were number 1 versus 5 or something like that. It was
game
really
day.
Cool.
I think it was. I can't remember if it was 8:30. I think it was 8:30 Eastern.
Dude, it was
kickoff.
Late. Yeah, it was a late one. Yeah,
that early though. That's good though. It would have been hot out in that Florida sun.
Woo, yeah.
September.
All the Texas games, those were unbelievable. I've never played in any game professionally, anything like that one. That 09 one, holy crap, dude. Sergio Kindle came around the corner and clotheslined me, caught me right in the ear hole. And I remember I landed on the ground and I set up I was sitting on my butt, and I was sitting up like this and my hands in my lap, and I was just kind of looking around, and I was like, where am I right now? Why am I sitting on the ground? And then it finally dawned on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 100% concussed. And so I just got up and I called the next play and went on playing and stuff like that. But dude, I had no clue where I was. Yeah, all the Texas games were cool. The Fiesta Bowl was sweet. There were a lot more.
Yeah, UConn was really good.
Yeah, good thing UConn. Oh my gosh. There were a lot more good times than bad times, that's for sure.
Okay, I did
in the locker room jacking around. That was fun.
Always fun.
Yeah,
my specialty. You look at the career, and one of the weirdest things about your time at OU was the dynamic between you and the fans. And being in it, it was weird for all of us as players. And did that bother you? Because it for the numbers you were putting up, for the games that we were winning. I know the expectation was to go win a national championship, and we didn't do that. But did it bother you how much negativity seemed to be pointed at you from the fan base?
I just didn't understand it. I really didn't. Yeah, I was just like, I don't really know what's going on here. I don't know why I'm getting all this shade thrown at me for whatever reason. I know it's like you got to win national championships. You got to be in that conversation. But looking back at it, if we had the playoff, we would have been in it like two out of the 4 years, at the end of the year. I mean, I think we would have been, so I don't know, man. It was just like that. It was hard. It was hard on me, that type of stuff. But then again, it's just like, well, I just can't please everybody. I'm going to go out there and put my best foot forward, and had a good career. All the plaques are still down in the record room, so that speaks for something.
I think it was doomed to be that way. No matter it wasn't you. It was doomed to be that way. If you think about it, which everything about the era I played in was god awful, as far as the rules and what they put us through. But the one good thing is I was in the honeymoon era, because everyone remembers it was just in the rearview mirror what it was like to be terrible. So whenever you're good again, everybody's happy, and you win the championship in 2000. Okay, we were there in 03 and 04. We're going to be there every year. 08, you have a Heisman Trophy winner. You're there. This is the year. At that point, that's whenever the frustration of the fans show back up. Like you're usually going to see fans, right? Angry,
Yep.
want to win it. That was just the time. 3 national championships in a row. We hadn't got it done. Heisman Trophy winner goes down. I mean, it doesn't matter who it was. That anger or frustration was going to be pouring out on whoever it was.
Yeah, it's you when you look at it like that. Yeah, you can see that for sure, because you were in that honeymoon stage, and then all of a sudden you're married for 9-10 years, and you start actually figuring out who that person is, and it's like, okay, we really have to start working at this deal.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is getting deep, guys. I like it.
Going deep, baby.
I do want to ask you about some of the guys that we played with, and obviously you had a special relationship with the wide receivers. When you look back on who you played with, maybe give me like your top 3, and not necessarily how their pro career panned out, but like when you were playing with them, who do you think were the most talented guys you were throwing the ball to?
Top 3, I would say Ryan, probably number 1, Kenny, and then that third one, man, that's a great question. Maybe Cam Kenny. I would probably say 3. I would say James Hanna, Cam Kenny, or Jazz Reynolds were probably the most reliable, talented guys out there.
So
that I'd like to throw to.
What's your favorite moment that you had? A lot of times, you may be known for a moment. That West Virginia game is one of them. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there, but is there like a drive or a play or a situation that a lot of people don't talk about? Maybe it's not flashy, maybe it wasn't a big game, but whether it was a great throw, was something that happened that you look back at as kind of like your favorite sequence, favorite play, favorite moment?
I think the probably 2011 Texas game, just the whole game, how it went down, how we played, offense, defense, man, we just kind of put it on them. And that's kind of slid into 2012. It's nice to beat a team like that and take all their confidence away, and then freaking go back into the next year and you're just gonna throttle those guys. So that was really cool. I just think the way how that game played out, and I played well in that game. That was one of my more fond memories.
That game set up the decade of suck for Texas.
It did. There ain't no question about it, because they were just coming off of same type of situation.
Mhm.
Colt McCoy, all that stuff going on, and then Garrett Gilbert steps in, and he was in a no-win situation.
I am shocked you did not pick the naked bootleg in the 2010 Big 12 championship game.
Probably because I almost injured myself trying to run. Dude, good night. You were as shocked as I was when that play call came in.
Just what? Okay.
I could barely move after he pushed me out of bounds. If I had an ounce of speed inside of my body, I would have scored.
What's that like in a huddle for you guys? You know, because defensively it's different. We get the same couple of calls that come in, but whenever you have a moment that's like that and a call comes in, is there like a reaction from like the huddle? Like, is there like, yes, like, oh, we're going to get this?
There were a couple
like,
chuckles in there for sure. Everyone was like, okay.
The difference, the difference in college versus kind of the difference in the NFL, like when there's plays, whether it's run plays or pass plays, where in college the players are like, everyone will talk about, I hate that play. Like, oh, this play sucks. Like, it's never going to work. But you can't say anything, right? Because, like, you have no power in college. Now, in the pros, some like a quarterback or one of the veterans on the office will be like, no, that plays out. That plays out. Like,
you look at the sideline, you give him one of these. No, don't want that.
Change it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't hear it. I didn't get it. Headphones are out.
I'll just have to call it myself.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it.
So kind of shifting to your pro career, what was the draft like, knowing that you had such a productive career in college and knowing where you were kind of slotted to go the year before and then ended up not going till the 4th round? What was that like?
You know, it was surprising, but again, you look at it all the way around, it was just a bad draft for any quarterback. There wasn't really a team with a bunch of needs other than like Kansas City and I think Jacksonville were the teams. Everybody else kind of did that like bridge guy where, you know, Arizona was a team that was really needing a quarterback, and then they picked up Carson Palmer. So a lot of stuff kind of like that happened my draft year. And then, you know, again, it was just like I was such a known commodity at that time, which there was good things about that and bad things about it. It was like I was a known commodity and I was really productive, but they knew all my weaknesses, all my faults, all that type of stuff so well. And I think that's one of the things that hurt me in the draft, is that's why I slid so far, which, you know, my expectations were, you know, maybe late 1st, early 2nd, worst case scenario, go early 3rd round. And I was like, okay, great. No big deal. We'll get a chance to at least compete for a spot. But then, you know, you go to a team like Pittsburgh where it's been, and it's just like, okay, this is the trajectory of my career. Like, you know, the only way I'm going to play is if he gets hurt, and then I better make the most of it and try to go to a different team, because whenever he comes back, it's going to be his team. So that was, you know, again, it was just kind of like a ho-hum experience. It was cool getting drafted. It was awesome doing the NFL Combine and the Senior Bowl and all that type of stuff. But, you know, again, like I set up this high bar of expectations that I was going to get to go somewhere and play immediately. And when that didn't happen, you know, it was like, this sucks.
How was Roethlisberger? Because it seems like I don't know if at that time he was secure enough in his situation to where it didn't bother him, but it seems like since then, like quarterback issues there, like a backup or something, like there's some frustration there with him, and it almost seems standoffish, and maybe that's just a media thing, and maybe that's how it's portrayed. How was that relationship between you guys?
He was just hard to get to know in the very beginning, and you look at it though, the dude's won 2 Super Bowls, and Pittsburgh is notorious for being a heavily defensive drafted team. They usually take defensive guys in the first round. And so that's been going on his basically whole career. And, again, Pittsburgh's not one to do a lot in free agency. So whenever they do take a quarterback, if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, dude, we don't need another freaking quarterback. You got one. Get me some lineman or a wide receiver or something, for God's sakes. So in the beginning, our relationship, it wasn't like he didn't really treat me bad. It was just there was nothing really there. But by the end, I built a lot of trust in him, and we got pretty close.
So when you're in that situation as the backup to, the face of the franchise, right? How do you approach it? Like in the meeting rooms, like on a day-to-day basis, like, because it seems like for your entire athletic career, you're walking into a situation going, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to work so hard that I'm going to be the guy. And then all of a sudden you don't have a chance to be the guy. Like, you're not going to get on the field. Like, how did you handle it mentally? Like, did it change your approach to football at all?
No, I mean, a little bit. Like that first 2 years, I might have had the greatest gig of all time, being the third guy. If I could go back now and be like a 10-year veteran, I would never want to go to a team where I'd have to be the backup. I wanted to be the third dude, because the third guy does not dress, has no worries, and basically is just out there lifting weights and getting swole in the weight room. So I just lived in the weight room and watched some film, and then, go enjoy a front row seat at, Gillette Stadium, and then eat hot dogs at halftime. So I was in hog heaven for those first 2 years, sitting the bench, like in that role. But there was always that thing inside me that was just like, man, I freaking want to get on the field. It sucks riding the bench. And then I'd be like, well, they're paying me pretty good, and I'm getting to watch a lot of football games. There's a bright side to it for sure.
Is James Harrison as psychotic as he looks whenever the camera's on him, or is he just a big old puppy dog?
Dude, he is the funniest, sweetest dude of all time. Great guy to be around. And that's just like an awesome persona. Like him coming out of the locker room in the tunnel, he is like fighting back, cracking up, laughing, walking around out on the field. But yeah, he's an awesome guy. It was fun playing with him. He was so intimidating, terrifying.
Oh God, he's just insane.
But once you get to know him, he's a good dude.
We did a joint practice with you guys. I was playing for Detroit. You were still in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And we did one of the joint practices, and then we play the preseason game.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the first day, and we're doing special teams, and I'm like a wing on field goal or something. I look up, like I just had gotten in position, wasn't paying much attention. I look up, and James Harrison is right across from me. And he looks at me.
You're going to drop down.
And I look at him, and he goes, I'm not rushing. Like, so quietly, I'm not rushing. I was like, oh, thank. And in my head, I was like, sounds good, bro. But in my head, I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
And I think Prater kicked like 2 extra points or like 2 field goals. And then James Harrison looked at Prater, who was, great kicker in the league, right? He goes, hey, little man, you good? And Prater like looks around. He's like, I mean, yeah. And James Harrison just stopped the drill. Like,
yeah, it was over. Like, I'm done if you guys are good.
It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I told everyone I knew that story that night. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Our special teams coach in Detroit was like, wait, what?
I wanted to
we all just walked off the field because James Harrison said so.
Yeah.
That's funny. I tell
Very
you,
great, man.
I used to be the wing on punt team, and if someone had punt safe out there, there's no telling what creature you're blocking off the
Oh,
edge
dude.
on punt. So when we go out there to punt safe, I'd say, "Hey, I'm going to cut you if you come." And they'd get real mad, and I'd be like, I'm just telling you, if you come, I'm going to cut you. So just so we're clear,
Yeah, we're on the same page.
they would never come. They would never come off the edge hard at all. Just that one little statement saved my life, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, because you get those guys like that dude from Cincinnati. Who's that big white dude that they had that would run down on
Oh,
kickoff?
was that the
Was it Margus Hunt or
Yeah,
whatever his name
Margus.
was?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
What is he, Czechoslovakian or something like that? Dude, that
Something
guy,
massive.
German.
humongous. And he'd run down on kickoff and he'd bust wedges and stuff. Like
It's like Israel Donajay for Chicago did that. I mean, he's 300 pounds. You know who else did that? Jimmy Wilkerson from OU did that for a long time.
Dude,
At 300 plus pounds.
Unbelievable. Those guys, that's a train wreck. I've seen, oh man, this guy from the Jets ran into like our wedge and he was doing the chicken dance all the way across the field to the sideline. And then he comes back and he does the same thing and he hits the wedge again, even same hard. And the guys were like, dude, you're concussed. You need to get out of the game. And he's like, I can't. I have to get back in. This is my job.
Got to keep this job.
Yeah, I got to keep the job.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com. And make sure you connect with our friends at Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs. They'll help you execute a realistic and achievable weight loss plan designed for you and only you. They've got all kinds of treatments for men and women. Their licensed and trained experts combine diet and exercise with hormone therapies to maximize your results. If you're struggling with low libido or low energy, Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs can help with that too. They also offer Botox and fillers. To get on the path to losing weight, call 918-241-LOSE or visit their Facebook page. If you mention the podcast, you will get a free fat burner injection. And guys, spring is here and you know what that means. It is hard seltzer season, baby. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and at the tailgate. It is made in Oklahoma, and it is absolutely delicious. Will and Wiley is customized for the Oklahoma lifestyle. Go find it right now in a store near you, and go follow them on social media at Will and Wiley. All right, back to the interview. Okay, so your NFL career, it was what it was, right? In Pittsburgh,
That's a great way to put it.
You did the backup gig. I will say this: I forgive you for the game you did start at the end of 2016 when none of the starters for y'all played, and you still beat the Browns. And I was a member of the Browns in that game. It's so depressing, dude.
Oh man, little brother out there.
Hey, you played good. So like in my head as I'm watching, I'm like, oh man, like he's doing good. I can't be upset, but oh my gosh, we're gonna lose to him and not playing any of their players. It's so embarrassing. But so after the NFL, you end up in a couple of really interesting situations. And I remember hearing this at the time. It's when the AAF was getting going.
Yeah.
I think it was the San Antonio team. The rumor was they offered you like $1 million to come play for them. Is that true?
That is true. That is true.
And you said no?
I said no.
Okay, explain.
Dude, okay, so they offered, it wasn't $1 million. They offered me $1.5 million. And I was like, awesome. Send me over the contract. Where do I sign? How do we get
Hurry
this?
before you change your mind, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How do we get this thing done? So they're sending me the offer, and I was like, where's the money coming from? And they're like, oh, it's a silent third party. And I was just like, who's this silent third party donor that is giving you all this money to start handing out to players? And they never would tell me. We would get all the way up to negotiations, and then I'd be like, where's the money coming from? Let me talk to the money guy. And they would always say the same thing. They're like, it's a silent third party. And I was just like, dude, you guys don't have the money. If you would have gone ahead and told me where the money's coming from. Let me talk to the guy. Let me investigate a little bit. But they always said the same thing. It's a silent third party. And so I was like, this league it ain't gonna last. There's no way that they're gonna actually have the ability to pay their players. And so I was like, I'm out, guys. I ain't doing this.
Well, interesting move, is a good move. So you end up going to the XFL. What's the phone call like? Was it Coach Stoops that calls you? Was it your agent that kind of hinted you in as to what was going on? How'd that whole thing go down?
So Coach Stoops was the one that first kind of alerted me to it. And I had the same type of reservations. Like our first conversation, he's like, hey, I'm doing this. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing this? And he was like, I'm bored and I got to get back into coaching. I miss coaching. I love football, all the stuff that you love about Coach Stoops. And I was like, okay, great. And I was like, how's the how are the checks been coming in? Because I had known that Coach Stoops wasn't going to just do it just to do it. I figured that they're paying him pretty good. And he's like, man, all the checks that I've gotten have cashed and all this different type of stuff. Because that was when the AAF had folded. So the AAF folded and the XFL came around. And I was like, all right, great. Let me see how free agency plays out. And then we'll go from there. And that was like, I think January or something like that. He put it on my radar, got picked up by the Raiders, did my thing there for the offseason, got let go by them. And then that's when the conversations really got serious with the XFL. Started talking to Doug Whaley a lot. He was I think the president at the time and stuff like that. So they had a lot of guys that were in the NFL and good people that I had known and had relationships in the past, like Oliver Luck. Had known him in the past. Me and Andrew were in the same high school class coming out. And so it just seemed like a more legit thing that would actually last and stand the test of time, just because Vince McMahon was throwing money into it and it was going to go on for at least a couple of years. You know, they said they're fully funded for 3 years. So I ended up doing that. It was a good deal. And then COVID happened.
Yeah. And I was enjoying watching it. I was probably enjoying watching you shotgun Bud Light seltzers in the locker room after the game the most. So I was probably enjoying that more than anything. But okay, if my memory serves me correctly, and I think I texted you about this. So you come out, you say you're playing in the XFL, right? Yep. We're all assuming you're going to the Dallas Renegades with Bob when the time comes. But didn't Roethlisberger get injured for the year, and the Steelers tried to get you?
Yep. So I signed my contract. I went to a workout in Detroit. And then I was just like, I can't be in Detroit. I can't do this. Like Detroit, Buffalo, Cleveland, those were probably the teams that I was
literally everywhere I played.
Yeah. I was just
basically
like,
me too.
I can't do that. I can't do those cities. And so I came back and I was like, no way. I ain't going through another workout. I'm not doing that. So I signed the XFL contract in August, and then Ben goes down. Pittsburgh tries to pick me back up, and Oliver Luck said, no, he's under contract. We can't let him. And I'd had no clue. I had no idea that they tried to call, they tried to contact me, anything like that.
Wow. I can't believe they didn't do that. I think that's ultimately good for the league. You know, I played in the UFL, which was similar. It was all NFL guys, NFL coaches, a lot of veteran NFL guys that were on those teams, and they were letting guys out of their contract to go back and sign on with NFL teams, and I think that ultimately was a good thing. They let me out to go sign with Jacksonville, but the NFL to me, it left me, I don't know, it kind of changed my perspective on football, on the sport. I just, for whatever reason, it kind of changed.
It made me very bitter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but like it just, I think it made me more of I don't know, maybe an angrier, more bitter person for a while.
For a while. Yeah,
I'll tell you, the thing with me was like, I enjoyed the game to win, like the camaraderie, being on a team, the journey of trying to win and going through that together. And as soon as I got to the NFL, I was like, that is not what this is. This is, you know, it's kind of like being a mercenary. It's every man for himself. But when I went to the UFL, I played 3 years. I didn't make hardly any money, but it was the most fun, other than college. It was the most fun that I could ever imagine playing football. Everyone made the same amount. There was no ego. It was so much fun. Did you have that same feeling in the XFL? Because it's hard, man. It's different. It's totally different.
You know, getting fired 3 times in 1 year will 100% humble you, and it makes you sit back and really think. I was like, okay, I was a good football player, but my NFL career, I had to have the right situation to be a starter. You know, I had to have the right coaches, a good offensive line, and some people around me to function and be a high quality starter. And it took me a while to accept those things, because you always sit there and are like, no, man, I could go in and I could play anywhere. But until I went through that thing, I was just like, all right, I am who I am. Let's be a realist. And then when I went to the XFL, it was just like, all right, I'm going to do this is my last stop. Like, I'm not going back to the NFL. And once I signed on that dotted line, the only teams that I would have maybe considered was like a Kansas City or a Pittsburgh, just because I had relationships there, or maybe a Las Vegas, something like that. It had to be the right situation. So I was having so much fun in the XFL. Unfortunately, I got hurt. That kind of derailed the process. But yeah, it was a really cool experience. I'm kind of sad to see it go.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if The Rock can't bring it back, then no one can.
Ain't nobody gonna bring that thing back.
We'll see.
USFL's going. They're going in.
So what it sounds like, it may be it sounds like you're maybe I'll believe it when I see it guy when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's people don't realize, and whenever you go into a startup, how much money it takes and what all goes into getting a football team onto the field for practice, like things that you don't ever think about, tape and just like all the other things. There's so much there that people don't account for. It's a money hole.
Yeah, 100%. I think the XFL would have made it though, man. We're getting traction. We're on TV.
I was in Mexico, like right before everything shut down, and we're at the swim up bar in Mexico, and it's piled with people watching the games on the weekend. It was fun.
Yeah, it was cool. The extra point thing, I think the NFL should do that. I think it's getting kind of dark out here. Let me move inside real quick, boys.
Oh, we've got time to kill. We've kept him so long that it's getting dark.
Getting dark.
That's how you know it's good. I just have a feeling he's going to walk inside and Whitney's going to be there. And then we're going to go down a line of questioning about how many times he's been told he outkicked his coverage.
Dude, if you don't outkick your coverage, there's something wrong with you. Then you married an ugly girl.
You know,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
is,
if you think about it logically, you want to outkick your coverage.
it makes a lot of sense what you just put out there, son. Okay. So the playing days are over.
Yep.
What's going on now? You and I have talked about the quarterback academy. How excited are you for this to get this new phase of your life started? And what are kind of all the details so that people can know everything they need to know about it?
Yeah, so bought 2 franchises, the D1 franchise. It's basically a training facility. One's going to be in Argyle, where I'm at right now, and then the other one is in Aledo, Texas. The one in Argyle is not built. The one in Aledo, Texas was already built. All the weights, the turf, everything was there. The owner just left the franchise for some reason. I don't know what was really going on there. They asked me if I want to take it over. I said, yeah, let's do it. So taking that one over, and then going to run a football camp, particularly a quarterback academy through there. It'll start July 5th and go through July 22nd. There'll be 6 sessions inside there that you can sign up for. And you can choose a Monday, Wednesday schedule or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. And it goes from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. with 1-hour sessions, groups no bigger than 5. And I'll shoot you over the flyer and all that type of stuff. But if you want to get a hold of me, you want to get signed up, there are 50 spots available. Email me at landry.jones@d1training.com. And Gabe, I'll shoot all that stuff over to you.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
What do you know about playing quarterback, bro?
Dude, I tried to escape it for as long as I could, and I can't escape it anymore, man. It's all I've ever done. It's all I ever know. So shoot, I might as well pass on what little knowledge I have left.
Do you like the coaching aspect of it? You know, some guys, there's a lot of really good players that, you know, just can't pass on those keys and those tips to other guys. Have you felt like you've got a knack for that? You like doing it?
I like doing it. I always loved the X's and O's. I loved watching tape. I was one of those weird guys that loved breaking down tape, loved preparing for games. That was one of my favorite parts about playing, and I really fell in love with it at Pittsburgh because they let me be a part of it a little bit. So me and the quarterback coach would do some red zone stuff together. I would sit in on third downs and game plan for the week, and they kind of gave me the reins a little bit there in Pittsburgh. Man, I just fell in love with it. But, you know, as being a coach, it's like you're always waiting for that next job, and you're bouncing around from city to city to city. And so with this thing, I get to be in one location, get to do what I'm passionate about, coaching quarterbacks, helping kids kind of fulfill their dreams. You know, if a kid wants to go to a Division I school, I mean, I freaking went to every camp there was that you could think of for a quarterback, and played at an awesome university, and then went on to do Senior Bowl, NFL Combine, got drafted, played in the NFL. So I've just been in a lot of unique rooms and have seen it done at a high level, you know, getting to watch Ben and seeing what he does. So picked up a lot of cool things there, and just excited to pass that on to the next generation. And, you know, hopefully we'll see, I get to be a part of a kid's journey from middle school to high school to college to pros.
Well, by the time we put this out, I will have had my first son, and I hope you know I expect a significant discount when I send him to the QB Academy here in like 15 years.
There's no way that you're getting a discount. I'll charge you double.
Damn it.
Reserve a spot for that 2035 summer. Make sure you fill in. Go ahead.
Yeah, fill in.
Pencil me in.
Gabe Ikard. What's
All
the
right,
name?
man.
You got a name yet?
Cameron, wife's maiden name.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
like
so
it.
keeping it. So probably going to call him Cam. You know, Cam's a good QB name, right?
Sweet. Great QB name. First rounder QB name right there.
It is.
Hopefully he's a first rounder on the PGA Tour, boys. Hopefully
Dude.
we can
I tell
make
you
life
what.
a little more simple for him.
Hey, Cameron Landry Ikard. How great does that sound?
Ooh.
That actually doesn't sound bad, but
sounds
there's
like-
no chance in hell.
That sounds like an awesome. Man, I'm in freaking trying to get people to name their children after me. All my buddies, anybody who has a kid, I throw it out there. I hadn't had anybody bite yet, so you
No
guys
takers.
should start having more kids, and
You
name
gotta
one.
you gotta start by asking people to name their dogs after you, and then it escalates to kids, right?
We just jumping straight into the fire, going full throttle.
All right, man. This was fun. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're getting to do something you're passionate about. I know it's been an interesting journey to
No
this
question
point,
about it.
but it's always good to catch up, man. I love you.
Yeah, love you, buddy. Thanks for having me on. That was fun.
Man, there was a lot in there, but some good stuff. Just an interesting career, right? I thought the stuff about, kind of the relationship between him and the fans is really good. I did some really good things in college. Pro career didn't go the way he went. Played in all kinds of different leagues. Like, I mean, you talk about a football journey. Landry Jones went on it.
He did, and he's still on the journey, which is cool. He's moving to a different role, going to start coaching up some kids, which is awesome. But dude, there's no doubt about it. He started his career in an absolute cannot win situation, and somehow he turned into the school's all-time leading passer. And hey, he played a long time in the NFL. He made a lot of money playing football. You can't have many complaints about that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. You're right. All right. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on Sports Talk 1400. You can hear me on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening, and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.